Alright guys, welcome back to another video. And today is kind of different. It's going to be unscripted, not really on a set path. And it's going to be more lax here. What I'm doing is I'm going to take you through the process of me doing Unity. And now this first episode, I'm going to label it the 0th episode because we're not going to really do anything today. I'm just going to introduce you what I've gotten done so far. Because I have done things I didn't think until later about what I was going to do. So, the basic gist is that this game is going to be a pinball game, right? And, just like how people cheat in the real world, you can kind of tilt the machine left, right, up, or down to kind of guide the ball. And that's basically what I'm doing so far. There's going to be more to it, but we'll get there when we get there. So, I'm going to go ahead and just show you what I have so far. This is the ball right here. And this is just, the floor so far. It's going to be the actual pinball machine when we get there. And I will go ahead and play the game and demonstrate it. Now, if you see here, ball has built-in physics. And let me go ahead and actually maximize it on play so you can see better. But it has built-in physics. Got to guide the ball around there. If you wanted to, you can go all the way. And you may see a counter, like, right here. And we'll get to that in a minute, what that means. But, I was using the arrow keys and everything. And the cool thing about Unity is, if you don't know, they all have built-in physics for them. So all I had to do was create this sphere through an asset, and then apply a rigid body. And after I did that, it kind of just did it all on its own. And I made sure to make the collision detection continuous, because in pinball you're going to hit a lot of bumpers, but you want to make sure that the program is constantly applying that. Now, if you didn't notice, I had this counter here, and I'm going to talk about this now when I get into my actual coding. So in Visual Studio, that's what I'm doing the code in, you can see when the document outline actually loads that I haven't gotten too much code done. I got a bit. But let me run you through what I've done here. So, I basically said, I set a variable named floor, and then I use GameObject. So what that allowed me to do is when I go back into Unity here, and all of this code over here can be used on the floor, which this code is built for. We have an object named floor, and then I can just drag the floor over here. Now, that's the thing. Whatever I'm going to put the code in is what it's going to be coding for. So this floor is the one that has this current asset here. Now, as you can see, I had input get key right, left, up, and down. So what that essentially means is that if I press the right key, it does this. If I press the left key, it does this. If I press the up key, it does this. If I press the down key, it does this. So let's look here. We have a fixed update, which means that every time the game updates itself with a new frame, it will look for this coding. So basically it's saying that for every update, it looks to see if the player has inputted a command, which if you're playing, you should have. Now we said, if it's right, then we do a floor transform.rotate OF -0.2f space.self. Now what this means is that we're going into the object of the floor, which we set up here, right? If you look here, it's directly correlated. And then we go into the transform part of the floor. So if we look back into Unity here, we're on floor here in our sample scene. And then we go into the transform section. And then we go into the rotate section, which is right here in the rotation. And we change it by adding these values. So the F at the end means float, which if you don't know, a float number is basically a decimal, is what you practically need to know for that one. It adds 0 to the x-axis, adds 0 to the y-axis, and adds -0.2, or subtracts it, from the z-axis. So what we're doing here is that anytime they press the... You were not supposed to see that one. Anytime they press the right button, the z-axis gets smaller, and we can show this right here. If I press the right button, you can see it kind of goes down there. Now, for the left button, I just did the opposite, because if you're going left, it's the opposite of right, so we added 0.2. Now, take note of these z-coordinates here. We'll get back to them a bit later. For the up key, instead of doing the z-coordinates, I did the x-coordinates. And in case if you wanted to know how to do, if you go here in rotation, you can kind of mess with it a bit here. If we do it at 0, you can kind of see it move in this part right here. 5. So that's how I figured out which ones to do with which. So we went in the up key, and then we put 0.2 on the x-axis. And for down, we did the opposite. Now, you may notice here that the thing is already slightly slanted on the x-coordinate. That's because if you ever look at a pinball machine, they're kind of slanted upwards to make the ball roll down. That, and I kept having a glitch where the ball would get stuck in the floor if it was straight and nobody has pressed a key yet. So for those two reasons, I put the rotation as -5. Now, if we look back here again, we'll get into the variables of x-chord and z-chord. I put a little message here to myself. Insert x angle here, need to find the solution to static field reference. So what I was basically saying is that I'm establishing this variable right here and putting it at -5. Now, if you look here, that's the same as our x-coordinate here. -5, and if we look here, it's the exact same. And that so happens to be the thing for the z-coordinate. So what this does is that it tracks the exact x and z coordinate for our current thing. Now, that may be a bit unreasonable here, because now that I'm thinking about it, I could have probably made the game object floor and then got its rotation. But for right now, that's what I'm doing. And the reason why I'm doing it is if you see here, we're updating it each time we put the input key in. And then we're going to use this to say that the floor has reached the maximum. So what I'm going to do here is that in real life, if you're playing pinball, you wouldn't be able to flip the table over like this. I mean, you probably would, but you'll probably like be thrown out of the establishment. So what we're going to do here is that I'm going to actually set the maximum to a 30. And that way the player can't completely flip the ball or the table over. And we'll use that by kind of establishing the z and x coordinates here. Now, I wanted to make sure, I haven't gotten to this part yet, but I wanted to make sure that everything was working right. So I made the variables, and as you can see here, I have another program called the test x chord that says, as soon as it loads, that we will create the text position. And if we go in here in the canvas, in our thing, you can see that we have both of these, position text and floor rotation via player. So we have our variable of text position, and we also have a variable of floor. Now notice that this variable calls back this script right here. So basically what this is doing is saying, you need to go into this script and look at all of this. And this right here is saying that we need to look back at the canvas on this one. So what we're saying is that this right here, the text of this, is equal to the floor x chord to string 0. Now what this means is that it goes to floor right here. As you can see, these two correlate, and it goes into this script. Now when it gets there, when it gets in that script, it's going to try to find the x chord. Well, the x chord is -5, or if we changed it a bit, it's going to change that. And then it's going to convert that to a string of 0. Now what that means is it's just going to basically make it a string so that we can read it, and it's going to start at 0. Now, we can see this in game. Anytime I change my x coordinate, you can see the number get smaller or bigger there. And that's because it's tracking it and then converting it to a script. And that basically just helps us represent that we are changing the x coordinate and the variable is working. But so far, that's all I've gotten. And I'd love to do some more. I think in the next episode, aka the first episode, we're going to go ahead and try to set the boundaries on the pinball machine, and I guess we'll just play it by ear by there. Like I said, this series is going to be less scripted than usual, and I hope you guys enjoy. I know it's going to be a bit complicated because I'm still learning and I haven't figured out how to directly describe it yet. So as I learn more, I'll be able to help you guys learn more. And if you like these kind of videos or have any suggestions for them, just tell me in the comments. And if you like the video, like and subscribe. See you guys next time.